So we have to begin with the tiniest little corner that begins to open the domain. Now I'll just go as far as this to tell you the corner, and then I'm going to ask you to think, well, what sort of circumstances could we invent as our context? The tiny corner we opened, it had to open with Claire, because the others were nervous. And the first lesson, they're all 35 minutes or an hour, the first lesson was one shoebox. You see, you've got to consider, I'll do it to you. These things always happen in teaching. How much do I have to prepare? What will the task be for the children? What will the skills be the children have to use? And of course that's what was happening this afternoon. The task was impossible for their skills. The teacher style, is she going to be working in role? Is she going to be working as instructor? Is she going to be working as guide? Teacher style, and just get this right, so I want it in the right order. Yes. The frame of reference for the class, the point of view the class will enter the lesson to do the task, but it's got to be alongside the teaching style. She then gets a product based on what the task is, and then what she has is, what after this half hour is in the bank? What have I got I might be able to recycle? Or what have I got that I now know that I couldn't have known till I taught this lesson? Now Claire's first lesson, the preparation was one empty shoebox, strengthened. It was full of titles on cards, titles for books. She just scribbled. She got one of her English classes to write her in 10 minutes. She got a couple of hundred by asking one class to do 3 cards, and they invented titles. The first class that came in then, remember they're all going to be first year, so year 7. The first class that came in, their task was to classify these as to what they thought the books would be about. That's all it was. It was a reading exercise, but to read the implications of the title. So Away the Red Devils, what do you put it under? Her second task was just to put classifications. Murder, you know, whatever, fairy tale. She just made those cards out. And she had a shoebox with nothing in except classifications. The children's task was to go through all these and say, well, I think it fits behind fairy story. It sounds as if it would be. So she ends in half an hour with what a teacher said, well, that was only a sorting exercise. Well, I don't know what you think it was. So that's the task to sort, if that's what the teacher thought was happening. What are the skills they're using to do that? Now, we might all think up different things. Claire thought up what she thought the skills would be for children coming into school in November. I mean, they're coming in September, I know. But which class will I start with is what she's chosen, you know. Which need reading practice? Which need to get on together? Which will take a chance? Which can handle the classifying and so on? So she deals with this. The teacher stance is she's functioning as a rather weary librarian, trying to get this sorted. she's got to have a way to prove the library's moving. So she has one other piece of preparation. She puts a big notice up. When the children come in, it says, as from, and the date is correct, to the next week, the old Reeve Library will be closed because all the books are moving to the new library. So that is constantly there being signed. So when she's a bit weary, she's managed to get most of the things sorted, but she's still left with this pile of titles, not books. She doesn't pretend they're books, for goodness sake. They're titles. And somebody's dropped the box and they're in a mess. And we're moving next week. I just can't have these men come with this van and we're in a muddle like this. So there's 3 things she's had to do for this lesson. They are in the bank. They're not thrown out at the end of the lesson. She's functioning then as a librarian, and their frame of reference is, thank goodness I've got good workers that know this library. So their frame of reference is librarians along with a sort of chief librarian. But she builds up, they know the library, she knows the new library. They know the old library. So the product is 1 empty box, 1 sorted box, and 1 notice. And that's what she's got in the bank. And that's what she's to keep a record of. Class, whatever they're called, you know, have functioned as librarians and have sorted and classified book titles. She needs to remember that, because she's in a whirlwind by the time all the classes are now pouring in and doing things. So this is what we're thinking about, and the whole of this project has started on a shoebox and some cards.